Now, your morality is subjective. It changes over time. It's very unstable. God's law and morality is very stable and it stays the same. It is the same today as it was back then. Now, just because you assume that what is moral and what is not moral to you means it was the same way back then. Your definition of morality is irrelevant because the creator of all things morality says, if you do this, this will happen to you. Now, at the same time, your morality says that you, being a man, can put lipstick on, throw a scarf around your neck, and grow your hair out and try to look like a female and be who you're not. Your morality says that's okay. And that kind of morality is of the utmost unstable mentality there is. Now, moving on. The Mosaic laws were actually also a law that kept the Jews in a state of health that was surpassing the Middle Ages. The average life expectancy or lifespan around this time during the Mosaic law was about 70 years. During the Middle Ages, much later, thousands of years later down the road, the life expectancy was about 30 to 40 years. And it wasn't until medical breakthroughs and advancements till we started lengthening that average lifespan back up to 70, and then some people live that beyond 100. Now, just a couple of examples of the health benefits of the Mosaic law were, one of them is that you're not to touch a woman that was menstruating, meaning you're not to have sexual intercourse with a menstruating woman. Modern science has shown us that doing this can heighten a woman's risk in getting pelvic inflammatory disease, which is a serious infection in the fallopian tubes and can cause some very serious problems. Another one is they were to go leave the camp. Outside of the camp, they were to dig a hole and bury their waste out of the camp. And another one was that they were supposed to clean their hands under running water and not still water. These are very important details and stuff that help them to be healthier people than they were even in the Middle Ages. Moving on with your video.
Daughters sold into sexual slavery by their own fathers.
Let's take a look at this. Exodus 21, 7 through 11. Let's take a look at verse 8, which seems to be the main part of this. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed, to sell her unto a strange nation. He shall have no power, seeing that he dealt deceitfully with her. Only in the sick, twisted mind of some of you atheists would you ever assume that these girls were being forced into these situations. Remembering that the times and the customs were different thousands of years ago. Back then, it wasn't about, like I said before, going to Starbucks and just having your choice of sprinkling whatever you want on top. Back then, that's how their customs were, and it was acceptable by both the parents and the girls. You also want to make note that the masters didn't always take in maidservants on the grounds of making them secondary wives or concubines.
Witches burned, gay people stoned, rape victims killed.
On the witches and the homosexuals, we already discussed that. Rape victims killed. Let's go over that real quick. Okay, let's check it out. Deuteronomy 22, 23 to 24, as you put, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city, and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die, the damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. Nowhere in this verse is rape remotely even mentioned. You know what? In fact, none of these versions of the Bible have anything remotely close to rape. What this scripture is saying is that if a woman and a man get together and they have sex, and she's supposed to be married, meaning she doesn't protest to it, she's committing adultery, then they will both be stoned to death. One, because the man was messing with a married woman, and 2, because the woman was a married woman. One is committing adultery, and one of them have humbled his neighbor's wife. So they will both be stoned to death. And now, to completely demolish your arguments on rape, we will go to Deuteronomy in the 22nd chapter. The only verse in this chapter that says anything about rape, this actually says, King James says force, would be the 25th verse. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. That is the only verse in here that deals with rape, and the rapist is to be stoned to death, but not the female, because she was forced. So you fail on that note as well. Let's see what else you have in store in your video.
You don't see anything wrong with this. You refuse to find fault with the brutal rule of God in the Old Testament, and all you have to offer is the most feeble objection of, well, those aren't the rules anymore.
Well, actually, no. I've just spent the last video and a half refuting point by point everything that you've come up with. I think the rest of your video is just simply ranting and raving about me agreeing with it and so on and so forth. Let's see.
Some comfort that is to those. Would you still participate in the trading of slaves? Would you stone women to death for being raped?
The raped women were not stoned to death, as I just disproved that.
You still kill me for being gay?
If you lie with another man and you lived in that time period, then they would stone you. But I'm not a Jew, so the law still doesn't apply to me.
Let me be clear. I don't respect you. I find you disgusting as a person, because all it took for you to abdicate your morality completely and totally was the belief that a certain book came from God.
You call me disgusting, yet I am who I am. You don't even have the respect for yourself to be who you are. You are a man. You are not a female. Period. The lipstick, the hair will not convince anybody that you are a female.
And now, you can't even admit that the horrors of the Old Testament are never acceptable. Think your God said so. Uses for the most
Yeah, the rest of your video is straight ranting and raving. So not only did you fail to refute the video that I made, but you made an entire video full of rants that was easily refutable. The same type of bullcrap we deal on a daily basis. I expected a lot more from you, but I guess I got my hopes up too high. How pathetic of somebody who's supposed to be an icon, who can't even logically explain or refute an argument that should be so easy, since the Christians, we're so stupid and filthy and so on and so forth. You've listed more logical fallacies than I can count. You've twisted things, and you're trying to compare a lifestyle of over thousands and thousands of years ago, comparing it to the lifestyles and the moralities and ways of today, which is a complete fallacy. It's not even a comparable argument. So yeah, something like that. I was able to throw this together in just under 2 hours after seeing your video. It took you 2 days to make a response in just 3 minutes, and you said absolutely nothing in your video. This is Crazy316. I'm out.